Rabbids are time-traveling war criminals that have developed their own language to hide philosophical questions about life and threats of destroying the planet in a kids show. This'll all make sense later, trust me. Tier 1. Rayman. Rayman is the reason anything with Rabbids exists. The whole reason Rabbids were even made was to be the main enemy of Rayman in the new Rayman game that turned into Rayman Raving Rabbids. This game was pretty much all mini-games where you'd use the Wiimote or mouse, whatever controller you had, and they'd all be motion-based. There were 57 mini-games in total, and some of them were tame, like drawing food to feed one of the Rabbids. Others, you would lead Rabbids into some form of pain, like with them stepping on a rake or cactus, and others you would be drowning them with carrot juice in their scuba masks. But yeah, Rayman is the whole reason for anything Rabbids existing. Rabbids Invasion. The show Rabbids Invasion is a show that centers all around Rabbids. There's no actual dialogue between these Rabbids, so most of the show is just pretty much miming and them making random sounds and saying blah all the time. But this show gives most of the lore for the franchise and has some oddly dark things I'll talk about later. The Rabbids killed Rayman. In a way, Rabbids killed Rayman. Rayman's the reason for Rabbids existing, and I mean, they were just the bad guys of the newest Rayman game, but people loved the Rabbids so much that they would be given a second Rayman Raving Rabbids game. Okay, makes sense, you still play as Rayman, but by the time the third Rabbids game came out, TV Party, Rayman was completely gone. Just removed from the series. Around this time, Rayman was also not getting any new games. Post Raving Rabbids, there were only 2 Rayman games, one in 2011 and one in 2013. So the Rayman franchise really just died with Rabbids. Rabbids just took it over. Bunny's very useful scientific facts. To help promote the release of Raving Rabbids, there was a set of Rabbid skits put out as commercials called Bunny's Very Useful Scientific Facts. These videos consisted of a Rabbid doing something they wouldn't be able to, and failing in some way or some short comedy skit, and then it just cutting to a video of everyone in the game dancing. Just a really weird form of advertisement. There was around 8 in total. Tier 2. Raving Rabbids Xbox 360 port. Most games designed with motion controls for the Wii never get ports, and that's usually due to the Wii being designed for motion control games. Most other consoles didn't have any, and still to this day a lot of them don't use any motion controls. But Rabbids blew up way more than Ubisoft was expecting. It ended up being the 53rd best-selling Wii game of all time, and because of how successful it was doing, it got a port for the Xbox 360. And it wasn't a bad port either. Sure, it was weird using a left stick to move the cursor around, but it ran great, and for a lot of people, this is how they got into Rabbids. Lapini Bernitus. Lapini Bernitus was introduced in the 20th episodes of Rabbids Invasion. He's the only Rabbid we've seen to have a beard, so I'll be calling him the Bearded Rabbid, and he was found inside a massive block of ice. As he describes it, Rabbids were once rulers of the world, before the Ice Age came around. It's also shown by him that Rabbids used to have additional human hair like he does, but they started evolving backwards. So he's from the past, being frozen in this ice block, and with him being older and Rabbids evolving into stupidity, he's way smarter than any of the other Rabbids. Their brains actually shrink as their species goes on. After lots of sulking over the fact that he won't see any other Rabbids he knows, he got the idea to make a time machine, or a time washing machine. He turns a washing machine into a time-traveling washing machine, and in that episode uses it right as it's made. He reappears 53 episodes later when it throws the bearded rabbit into a parking lot with more of these Rabbids. And then it's just another invasion episode, pretty standard, but when he decides to time travel back, he goes back to the date October 26, 1985, the same day that Back to the Future 2 takes place. Oh, and the console on the time traveling washing machine is just a carbon copy of Back to the Futures. Mario x Rabbids crossovers. Out of all crossovers to happen, I don't think anyone was expecting one with Mario and Rabbids. These games are shockingly good. There's been 2 so far, Mario x Rabbids Kingdom Battle and Sparks of Hope. They're both top-down sort of tactical fighting games, being turn-based. It's basically if you took XCOM and then just threw in Mario and Rabbids. The small bit of time I've gotten to play in these were extremely fun. Tier 3. Rabbids Comics. In 2012, the first Rabbids comic book, Bois, was released exclusively in France. But after the premiere of Rabbids Invasion on Nickelodeon, the first 2 volumes of the comic were translated to English and released in the US. Initially, there were plans to release a 3rd volume, but as of 2015, it was cancelled. The comic still continues to sell in France, but unfortunately, there's no way to read it in English. Rabbids Manga. There's also a Rabbids Manga. It started on October of 2022 and had a first issue that had 198 pages. Pretty long for a first issue, and it's good quality, but it's been the only issue to come out. I don't know if they'll be doing any more of these, as it was October of 22, but hopefully they do. Rabbids Coding. In late 2019, there was a free Rabbids coding game. It was one of those coding games like Scratch, where it's very simple and made for super beginner coders, but there was some weird stuff found in the files of the game. There's some unused assets still left over in the files, and most of them seem normal. The start's a bit weird with this cow texture, but that was just for another part of the game. But making your way towards the bottom of this list, yeah, that's just blood textures in the game. I imagine most of it is left over from some sprite pack they bought, but either way, it's just weird that it's still on the files. Sergey. This is Grandis Lapinus, aka Sergey. He's only appeared in the original Raving Rabbids game and the 3DS port of that game, but aside from that, he's shown in the North American cover for Raving Rabbids 2, but he's not in the game. He's also known as Kong Bunny, hence climbing the Eiffel Tower in the background like King Kong, but this special Rabbid type hasn't appeared in anything else, and it kinda sucks. He wasn't super important in the only game he was in, he was just a guard, but he's an intimidating and super unique design that they've yet to bring back. Rabbids are genderless. Rabbids have always been kind of a mystery when it comes to gender. There's some of them that'll put on a human wig that makes them have longer hair and look like a girl, but it's been confirmed by the official Rabbids Twitter account that, quote, Rabbids are neither male nor female, they are just Rabbids. Tier 4. Damien Lakeet. Damien Lakeet and the rest of the team that worked on Rabbids were actually the voice actors of the Rabbids themselves. Damien Lakeet was a very big part of these games with how much voice acting he actually did. At one point in 2013, there was a Rabbids movie in production, and this guy was going to be the main voice actor of it. Unfortunately, it got cancelled, with the only remains of the production left over being rabbidsmethod.ts, which is about a minute of animated footage that looked to be a test screening. Aside from that cancelled movie, there was another one made called Rabbids Mission to Mars, but it was more of a Netflix special than a movie. Rayman 4. Originally, the first Raving Rabbids game was going to be Rayman 4, and this was originally just a fan theory, but the DS port of Raving Rabbids proved this. The early versions of the DS port were literally called Rayman 4 Guardians, and there was no Rabbids at all. Rayman 4 just got converted into the Rabbids franchise, and its own franchise got killed off. Early Rabbid models. The early models of Rabbids and original trailer showed what these creatures were originally gonna look like, and they were way creepier. Granted, it was super early on, but the whole art direction seemed to change. Not to mention the first drawing of the Rabbid looked disturbing. It was the first drawing, but it was completely different than what we got. This was drawn by Michael Ansel, and Michael Ansel is a very big part of the franchise. He's a guy who did the character and world design for the first 3 Rabbids games. Without him, the franchise wouldn't exist at all. And there was a skit done as an advertisement for Rabbids, where they kind of just killed Michael Ansel. There wasn't any blood or anything, but he got beat up really bad in this weird advertisement. Rabbids Go Home PC port. The 4th Rabbids game, Rabbids Go Home, got a PC port just like the first one, but for some reason it was only released in Europe, meaning the only languages available for this game are French, Czech, Spanish, Polish, and then Russian and Japanese. But yeah, it works just like the Wii game, using a mouse instead of the Wiimote, like the first Raving Rabbids port, but there's no way to play it in English. Tier 5. Attack of the Killer Rabbids from Outer Space. At one point, Ubisoft was making a Rabbids almost zombie-like game. There was a trailer for it back in 2011, and it was going to be a launch game for the Wii U, and it's way more gory than you'd expect for a Rabbids game, and the Rabbids themselves were super creepy looking. This game unfortunately got completely changed into a standard zombie game called Zombie U, but at some point Rabbids was going to take a gory horror turn. And in a later entry, I'll talk about some of the concept art for this. It's insane how big of a shift they were planning on doing. Rabbids Lab. Rabbids Lab is a really weird WiiWare game. The whole point of it is to pretty much just torture Rabbids. You could throw them around the room with a Wiimote, guide them into electricity, squish their heads. I mean, it's a really weird game that just kinda encourages kids to abuse this Rabbid. Just a very odd free WiiWare game. Dead Rabbid in Rainbow Six Extraction. Probably the best part of Rainbow Six Extraction is that there is a Rabbids Easter egg. If you shoot off this high voltage panel in the game, you'll see a Rabbid being electrocuted inside. Rabbids at Versailles. There's a really weird collaboration with Rabbids and the Gardens of Versailles with a mobile game. The whole thing is that you'd go around the gardens and hunt down Rabbids on your phone, alongside doing some puzzles with the gardens and learning about the history of them. It was a really odd collaboration, doing Rabbids in a historical garden, and it's not like looking back on it, it looks weird. Even at the time, everyone thought it was odd, and not many people did it. Rayman Raving Rabbids Activity Center. Raving Rabbids Activity Center is a spin-off PC game of Raving Rabbids that has 4 small mini-games, a sort of coloring sheet game, wallpaper studio, and a video booth that has videos all about Rabbids. It was super small, didn't get all that popular. I mean, it was just a simple spin-off game, but it's only on PC, and the only way of playing it nowadays is having the physical CD, which is shockingly cheap. There's a whole bunch of listings on eBay I found for it sealed for $5. Tier 6. Start the car. Rabbids mostly speak in their own language that's just saying bois a whole lot, but in this video where Ubisoft let 10 different animation studios make an animation for Rabbids, the one done by Ubisoft themselves had a Rabbid actually say something understandable in English. Short entry, but yeah, this is the only time a Rabbid has said something that's so understandable. Preview boss Quisto 2.bik. This was a cut boss for Raving Rabbids 2. The only thing that's known about this boss is that it was gonna be a chef. As seen on screen, these are the only 2 images in the files, but it was completely cut and none of the developers have said anything about it. Dojo Maps. Dojo Maps are the early versions of the battle arenas in the Mario and Rabbids games. Specifically in the first one, there's a ton that people have found in the files. There's lots of combat mechanic testing areas, early versions of the cover system, a really low quality version of the map, and for some reason the developers decided to use fan art of Rosalina playing the guitar as a placeholder texture. Just odd that they decided to use fan art and not anything else. You can even still find the Twitter post up and it's obviously just fan art. Rabbids Dictionary. So this is gonna sound insane, but someone was able to translate the Rabbids language. Yeah, it's not entirely gibberish, they're actually saying things. It's mainly in the show, and there's a whole document this guy made on how to speak Rabbid. And when you translate some of the things in the show, aside from it sounding ridiculous to say yourself, well, some of the things said are kind of insane. Here's just a few examples from the guy who translated the language. So yeah, Rabbid is an actual language that's a mix of French and Mandarin in a way. And these Rabbids want to destroy the world, maybe kill children, and are somewhat philosophical. Yeah, I've got no clue. And don't worry, I'll do the outro for this video in Rabbid. Swear words in Rayman 4 source files. In the code for what was originally going to be Rayman 4, for some reason there's a lot of cursing. All in the code, you can see the devs sort of just losing their mind making this game. If it wasn't bad enough while making this game, I'm sure they loved the idea that the whole thing was going to be scrapped just for a Rabbids game. Rabbids Invasion concept art. The concept art for Rabbids Invasion was a bit crazy to say the least. Like I mentioned earlier, Rabbids was going to take a crazy turn and be super gory and violent. The original game that turned into Zombie U showed what this could have looked like, but these plans were also going to make way for Rabbids Invasion, the TV show, to be just like it. It's kind of insane what they were planning to do with Rabbids. A lot of this is just kind of oddly gory. But yeah, I'm just gonna go on a limb here and assume the original version of Rabbids Invasion wasn't gonna be a kids show. Tier 7. Where did Financial Crisis Rabbid originate from? In 2023, this Financial Crisis Rabbid meme started going around and, well, it was just a normal meme. There's nothing creepy about this or anything, but no one actually knew where this Financial Crisis Rabbids meme came from. A lot of people have agreed it's most likely from Rabbids Invasion, but there was no for sure answer. Well, I did some digging and someone found it 2 years ago on Wayback Machine, but no one ever saw this comment. It's from a history page on the Rabbids, so it's a part of the Ubisoft site that has since been deleted. And when you go through all of their fake history, when you get down to 2008, you'll see where the meme came from. And it says in 2008, the Rabbids watched Wall Street and started getting involved in financial business. They came up with a new idea, subprime lendings. Even though I didn't find it myself, I'm glad I can just kind of spread where this meme came from. It's really odd that this guy replied to a post talking about it and just no one saw it. Also, a Ubisoft employee got to remake a lot of these images for advertising, so there's a newer version of this meme as well. Tier 8, the final tier. The Rabbids are immune to radiation. As shown in a Rabbids Invasion episode, Rabbids are immune from radiation. or at least dying or being hurt by it. They'll turn green and have weird side effects like growing to be massive, but they're otherwise fine. Rabbids don't really ever die, so it kind of makes sense, but when they get irradiated, they get massive. Gandhi Rabbid. For the International Day of Non-Violence, Gandhi is a pretty big part of the promotion of the day. So for some reason, on October 2nd, 2013, Non-Violence Day, the official Rabbids Twitter account posted this. Yeah, that's, Rabbid Gandhi. For some reason, all the comments are from 2023, just no one saw this until then. But I guess this means Gandhi is canon in the Rabbids universe. Offensive language in Rabbids Go Home. There was a lot of stuff going around that Rabbids Go Home was going to be recalled due to offensive language, which the only thing that people found that could have been offensive was a sign that said no penetration in this zone. So even if it was bad, it would have just been an adult joke that kids wouldn't have understood. But the rumors of the recall stopped after Ubisoft apologized if they had upset anyone with any language in their game, and no copies were ever recalled. Chris Rock crossover. There was an ad for Rabbids with who people thought was Chris Rock, and the full version of the ad was just missing. The only bit of footage available was from a Da compilation that was in bad quality. It's just a compilation of Rabbids going Da over and over again. So this was considered lost media until about 3 days ago. My idea was that if I could find out who was in the trailer, because I didn't think it was Chris Rock, maybe I could find the full thing. Assuming it's a celebrity or somewhat well-known actor, the current lead being Chris Rock is what people thought on Reddit, I tried searching for a Rabbids ad with him to no avail. So I asked everyone I knew on Discord to see if they knew. No one knew who it was. Google thought it was Eddie Murphy, and that didn't go anywhere. So I was convinced this was gonna stay lost media. And the only way to see this snippet of the ad was gonna be from this Rabbids Da compilation video. I mean, image search, old Reddit posts asking people, nothing led anywhere. So this is where I looked into the intro of this clip. It said G-Hole. So I looked it up, and G-Hole was a program where they talk about upcoming games. So I searched for G-Hole around the time Rabbids was getting advertisements, and I found a 900 view YouTube video of MTV G-Hole 2006. So they were talking about games coming out then, and interviewing the developers, and about 18 minutes in, there was a skit where the interviewer was attacked by Rabbids. So yeah, it was finally found, so that 3-year-old Reddit post can rest. I go to comment something about it, and the post is locked. So the person who was asking 3 years ago, if you ever see this YouTube video, I found it. And here's the lost media entries that didn't have enough information for their own entry, so I'm just going to quickly go through them. All links for any information on them are going to be in the description. Rayman Raving Rabbids PSP port. There's still multiple listings for a PSP version of Rayman Raving Rabbids, but this game was never a thing. It was under development and some sites were notified of production of it, so they created listings with some cover art they were given, but it never came out. Unused Rabbids Go Home songs. There was 10 unused songs for Rabbids Go Home, and they're just all on YouTube. And lastly, Facebook game. There was a Facebook Rabbids game that released in April of 2012. No one seems to have archived it, so it's completely lost. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, like and subscribe. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, week, month, and I'll see you in the next one. Bwa ah 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 ha la la ha bwa la wa.